The smell of spring and phosphor bronze is in the air. Guys, I'm so glad to be back with you guys. It's a wonderful spring day here. Right now it's actually a Friday. And to date myself, it doesn't really matter that you know what the date is, even if this comes out later. It is the second day of spring. And it is a beautiful second day to have for a second day of spring. I just changed my strings like I did on the last video. I'm going to play them immediately after I change them so you can see what the tone sounds like. And this time I'm going to do a different song. Now this video is going to be the first part of this is going to be these strings played on this song. Then I'm going to do the Elixir phosphor bronze. So we're going to kind of compare phosphor bronze with phosphor bronze from different companies. And that'll come right after this little tune I'm going to do. And then after that, we'll come back after 2 or 3 weeks again and then do a review on the phosphor bronze version of the Ernie Ball strings. These are the Everlast Ernie Ball phosphor bronze string. Now the package for the 80/20 bronze is a lot more decimated here because I didn't think to cut the top off like I did this one. The package for the phosphor bronze, actually, now that I think about it, kind of looks the same color, kind of a goldish greenish color that the phosphor bronze, that the 80/20 bronze looks like when you put them on. Now, as I said the last time, I wasn't really impressed with those because, once again, they were 80/20 bronze. And for me, the 80/20 bronze just die a lot quicker. I don't know if it's the material or what. Maybe phosphor bronze, I know it has, I think, 90-something% copper. It's got it's more percentage copper than zinc as opposed to 80/20. As far as if I'm not mistaken, I think it's copper that's the most prominent material. Copper may have a less corrosive makeup than zinc, which is probably why that the 80/20 bronze corrodes so quickly as compared with phosphor bronze. But we're going to try the Ernie Ball strings out. And when I put these on and took the first strum, I was like, remember like the Martin Monell Tony Rice strings where he said, "Welcome back, old friend." As soon as I put the phosphor bronze on and took that first strum, I was like, that's the sound I'm used to, that I love. I just love phosphor bronze tone. It just seems to just win out every time against 80/20. And I haven't even played these phosphor bronze string, just except for what I just played for you. Not even sit down and strummed with it. I just made sure it's in tune. Come right in here and record this video for you guys. So that's what the packaging looks like. Thanks again to Tyler Kendrick from Ernie Ball for sending me these strings. I'm glad to review these. Now before I get on to the little lick thing, I want to mention 2 things that I failed to mention on the last review of the Ernie Ball strings. One thing that's really cool is on the winds. If you've seen how I change my proven method for changing strings or something like that, you'll notice that I say when you put the ball end in, it has a little overwrap, and you always want to put that either to the top or the side because I've always heard that causes tuning problems if you put it on the bottom and then the strings rests on that overwrap. Well, I've noticed a consistency with the Ernie Ball strings that I've not seen in even Elixir strings or any other string company, and that is that the Ernie Ball strings, the overwrap is always out of these 2 packages, which just blew my mind, always the overwrap is on top. And so you can bend it down and the overwrap is on top. It's not to the side. It would be on bottom if you turn it upside down, but it's always consistently on top of that ball end. So that's very cool how that works. The other thing is I thought was very interesting is the Ernie Ball, these last 2 string packages, typically you have the wind end at a certain point and then the middle core wire extends whenever you're stringing these. Well, they don't do that. They actually have wound the whole entire string. I don't know why they decided to do that. I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is for that, but there's got to be, a reason they do that. I'm not sure, but the winding completes the whole string. There's no, end of the core wire sticking out. So this is the sound that I'm used to. Immediately I heard that, I was like, this is it. And I'm still not for sure if these are brighter than 80/20. I'll have to play them a little bit longer because if they're brand new, of course they're going to be bright. Still using my blue chip picks. Loving them. Still the same one that I've had for right now. It's, like I said, March 21st. I've had this pick since February the 1st, first weekend in February. Still, no visible sign of wear whatsoever. Just some surface scratches like you would get on your pickguard. It amazes me. This thing has no wear. And when it finally wears, all I gotta do is just turn it. And guess what? I got a new pick. So, as long as I don't lose it, I'm gonna have amazing tone, okay? So let's get on with this other tune here. Okay, now this is something that I've been working on recently. Haven't really put it into song format. I don't think I really have a name for it either. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And it's just a song that I was messing around with in D. What I will suggest is that you go check out my easy lead playing in D demonstration and lesson. I got some of this music idea from the chords that I used in that demonstration. So when I get to the the F sharp chord, some of that stuff was in my mind what I was thinking of. So we're going to do this tune. Not sure what to call it yet. Maybe I'll have a name for it by the time this posts. And the Elixir Phosphor Bronze medium gauge nano webs. Alright folks, welcome back. This is the second part of the video review for Ernie Ball Everlast Phosphor Bronze coated acoustic strings. I'm using the medium gauge, which is 13 to 56. And that's just, like I said, that's just a little song that I've had been working on. I just love the groove to it. I don't even know what to call it. Maybe, you know, I don't know. It just reminds me of maybe driving down a highway somewhere, you know, open fields on either side of me. Still don't have a name for it, but I hope you guys like that. It's just kind of like a little groove there in D. And I think I'll do a lesson on that probably very soon because, I don't know, this is just it's just a fun little song to do. It's got a nice little timing to it. And I can show you some of those chords that I was using, you know. It might help with picking too. But anyway, for right now, I'm going to go ahead and do the second part of this review for the Ernie Ball Phosphor Bronze Everlast strings. Immediately, by the way, this is the pack, which we already went over. This is what it looks like. Now, beforehand, we talked about the 80-20 bronze, and I've done a little bit of research on what that is so I could be better equipped and prepared to tell you about that. The Phosphor, the 80-20 bronze, actually I kept the package and it's still all ripped up to no end. I wasn't very patient with it. I wanted to get it out and put the strings on, but that's what the 80-20 bronze looks like. And interestingly enough, the package kind of looks like the goldish color of the strings, whereas this package actually looks like the copper color that the Phosphor Bronze strings has. Now, I don't know if you can tell or not, but what these strings here, they still retain a little bit of their color, but they have since wore out. I've had these strings on now for about 3.5 weeks. I've played, we had a revival at a church that we go to, and I played every night, song leading, 2 or 3 songs. I've had several practice sessions, and I've put these strings through their paces. Now, I would be happy to say that these strings would probably last a lot longer than 3.5 weeks, as opposed to the 80-20 bronze. For one thing, 80-20 bronze is a lot more highly corrosive than the Phosphor Bronze. And immediately, as you probably saw earlier, I think it's been, like I said, 3.5 weeks since I recorded the first section of this video. I really enjoyed the sound of the Phosphor Bronze strings. They really are the sound that I love on my guitar. But the 80-20 bronze strings corrode a lot faster, whereas these Phosphor Bronze strings have lasted a lot longer. And the tone has lasted a lot longer. They didn't die within like the first couple of weeks or the first week or so like the 80-20 bronze usually do. You can go back and compare this with the Ernie Ball review that I did on the 80-20 bronze and kind of get a feel for what you like best as well. The video that I'm going to place in the middle of this and the first part of this video is going to be a video for the Elixir Phosphor Bronze. I want to compare Phosphor Bronze with Phosphor Bronze now. So that will be an upcoming video as well. I will be comparing those Elixir Phosphor Bronze to the Ernie Ball 80-20 bronze Earthwood strings that they sent me as well. And we'll get back to the bronze versus 80-20 sound. But for right now, I just want to say the things about this is, another cool thing about this is, like I said, just with the 80-20 bronze, these Phosphor Bronze strings were wound completely up to the end. They didn't have any core wire showing at all. Not exactly sure why they do that. I haven't had as many tuning issues with these strings as I have with the 80-20 bronze, I will say that. I'm guessing they use the same coating on both sets of strings, but for some reason the 80-20 bronze just seemed to corrode a lot faster, so I'm guessing the coating is not as strong. Even though it uses nanotechnology, I'm guessing the coating is probably not as strong as some other coated brands I've tried, like Elixir and Martin Lifespan, which the Martin Lifespan uses clear tone for their coating. The other thing about this is, like I said, this has, I mean, this really, the Phosphor Bronze in general really keeps its tone really well. Still using the blue chip pick. I am finding that it's starting to mellow out a little bit, so it must have some kind of wear. I'm not really noticing it per se, but when I do flip the pick around, it is a little bit of a different tone. But that's all right. I don't think that has anything to do with affecting the overall output and volume of these strings, as it were. But I noticed last night during practice session that that I wasn't having the volume like I did when I first put these on, and even after 1 or 2 weeks. Like I said, my opinion is that these strings, the Everlast, the Ernie Ball Everlast Phosphor Bronze, actually probably would last a lot longer than the 3.5 weeks had I not been playing almost every single day, 3 or 4 songs a day in an actual live setting. So I'm very confident that these strings would last quite a bit, and these are some I do recommend these strings if you can't really afford the elixirs. I'm not sure exactly what these retail costs, but they're very, very much worth looking into, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I did some research, and I'll have a link to this below, below the Show More area. If you're on YouTube, you can click the link below. There's a cool site that I just started looking at again, and I've had it in my bookmarks for a long time. But it's called ProfessorString.com. And he's got some very, very interesting things to say about the science behind how strings are made, different ways to have longer lasting tone, what kind of string cleaning materials that are good to put on strings. And it's just amazing what you can find on that website. Again, it's ProfessorString.com, but the link to that specific article that I'm about to tell you about here, I'll leave that below. Basically, this is called the unspoken mystery behind acoustic guitar strings, okay? And I'm just going to go over the two. It talks about the different metals and the different alloys. And we've already discussed back in, when we were talking about Tonal, we've already discussed what that alloy is about and what it is. It doesn't really say what Tonal is on here, but it does address 80-20 bronze, 85-15 bronze, which I'm not even sure they make anymore. What bronze is, phosphor bronze, 92-8 phosphor bronze, gold-plated, titanium, stainless steel, silken steel. So different ones are covered. But we're just going to go over the 80-20 bronze and the phosphor bronze. And let's just talk about what bronze is in general. It says, of all the strings manufactured, bronze has got to be the highest, the brightest, and most articulate string available. There are no strings that are pure bronze per se, but a mix of several different alloys, including tin, phosphor, zinc, and copper. The core is usually made of steel. Bronze strings can make virtually any acoustic guitar come alive with highly penetrating tone versus their steel string counterparts. Bronze metal is known for its thin shimmer and brassy sound, but a deep, rich low end can also be attained. Since string coatings have become popular, many of the previously highly corrosive bronze sets have become popular again, which 80-20 bronze is very highly corrosive, as I've just said. Uncoated bronze sets can lose their brilliance after a few hours of playing, as they can be highly corrosive. Many players need to use them for recording sessions for their short-lived brassy sound. String coatings in general have pumped new life into acoustic bronze sets. The brassy sound can last for many weeks or months without decaying, and that's with coated strings, which is what I recommend. I recommend coated strings over uncoated strings any day. But let's get into what 80-20 bronze is for those of you that aren't exactly sure. And I was, surprised to learn some of this stuff. I hadn't really thought about it much. But here it says 80-20 bronze is one of those numbers we mentioned earlier. What does 80-20 mean? It is the ratio of copper to zinc in the wrap wire, which is the wrap wire is the winding that you see going over the, it's actually going over a string, a core string that looks just like these two steel strings, the E and the B string. The wrap wire is 80% copper, while the other is 20% zinc. Okay, so we got 80% copper, 20% zinc. That's 80-20 bronze. Since copper is highly corrosive, the zinc component helps slow down the aging process and adds additional hardness. However, since the advent of string coatings, the corrosion issue has all but disappeared as a primary concern. Although poorly coated 80-20 strings or strings with worn away coating will corrode. Okay, so poorly coated strings will corrode. And Not to diss Ernie Ball, I may have gotten a set that wasn't really coated well, but the 80-20 bronze I found was corroding very, very quickly. These look like they're corroded a little bit. There's little spots and everything where you can tell where I've been playing, but for the most part, the sound hasn't been affected hardly at all. Like I said, these are the Phosphor bronze. Okay, so it says, tone-wise, the 80-20 mix is excellent for creating a string that yields fantastic tonal range. The 80-20 strings are known for their brilliance and crisp highs. Uncoated versions of this string can lose brilliance after a few hours of playing sessions. In fact, this string has gotten a bad rap over the years for being dead-sounding due to its high corrosion rate. And also, like we said, that's due to the copper in it. Super old sets exposed to high humidity can turn light green from the copper content. And I've noticed that whenever you're playing acoustic guitars and you play for a while, if you're playing the 80-20 bronze strings, your fingers start to turn green. And that's because of the copper. It says, again, coating technologies have completely changed this factor. And they have. If you get a good coated string, then you can actually rely on having the tone that you need from a set of 80-20 bronze if you get a good coating on it. Now, in comparison, Phosphor bronze, once again, that was 80-20. It had zinc and copper. There was no bronze in that whatsoever. I'm not exactly sure what consists of bronze, if it is a match of certain metals together to create bronze. I'm not sure, but it never mentions it there as far as, you know, what bronze actually is, what its components are. I'm not a chemist, I'm a guitar player, okay? It says Phosphor bronze. The Phosphor bronze strings were developed to have longer lasting life cycle. In other words, the phosphorus content helped preserve the brilliant tone longer than the 80-20 and 80-15 bronze strings. Phosphor bronze strings are the darkest sounding of the bronze string family. They have about 75 to 80% of the brilliance of a fresh set of 80-20 bronze. Now notice, let me repeat that. They have about 75 to 80% of the brilliance. So not quite as bright sounding, but to me, I like that in a phosphor bronze string because to me it mellows out a lot better. It sounds more like it would after playing a few 80-20 bronze sessions with those strings. They end up mellowing out anyway. Whereas if you get Phosphor bronze, it has a nice mellow out sound from the start, from the moment you put them on. As you heard earlier in this video, the first part of this video, that's what they sounded like brand new. And if you'll go back to the little tune I just played earlier, you'll hear what they sounded like after 3.5 weeks of playing. Once again, I mean, the tone has changed and the volume capacity has changed, but I love Phosphor bronze just because of the way they sound. I put the 80-20 bronze on and it didn't really affect my ears as much, but when I put them Phosphor bronze back on, I immediately heard the difference, and I love the tone of that. And most bluegrass players today, Brian Sutton included, play Phosphor bronze because of the tonal qualities of it. Phosphor adds a warm, pleasing tone that gives a tonal softness not found in other strings. They tend to have a little less pick noise as a plectrum sweeps across the strings. In fact, some sets have been known to yield a soft brushing type of pick noise. Okay, now this is kind of similar. It says the 92/8 Phosphor bronze, which I think a lot of them are actually made of. I don't see the that there is an actual, you know, percentage here, but this is a smaller paragraph. It says 92/8 is a ratio represents a blend of 92% copper and 8% tin. Okay, in tin phosphide in the wrap wire. So we got more copper, even though copper, that's weird to me. If it says copper is bad for, you know, corrosion, you have a Phosphor bronze that has, you know, 92% components made of copper. That just doesn't make sense. The 8% actually break down to a 7% tin and a 1% phosphor composition. The tin phosphide helps preserve the tone range over time. Very key. Again, since the advent of coatings, the role of phosphor in coated string is purely tone versus longevity. Okay, so there's a lot more information on this specific article. Like again, I said I will leave a link below on that. My official review on the Ernie Ball Everlast coated acoustic strings is that they are probably a 4, 3.5 to a 4 out of 5, because to me it seems like they would have lasted a lot longer had I not played them so much. If you're just a run-of-the-mill guitar player, you jam every now and then, you pick it out of the closet every now and then, this will be a good string for you. If you are like me and you have to change a lot of strings because they wear out so quickly, you may want to stick with elixirs because they do really last a lot longer. A typical set of elixirs, from how much I play, they'll last me anywhere from 2.5 to 3 months. 2 to 2.5 to 3, somewhere around in there, depending on how much I play. And I do play quite frequently. So these are a decent string, have a good sound to them. And I do recommend also blue chip picks. The combination of blue chip with just about any guitar really, really makes a big difference. And I've tried them all, trust me. Okay, so that's the end of this video for today. Please continue watching the YouTube channel for any other reviews that may be coming out. Like I said, these are recorded in advance, so there's no telling what's been recorded and what videos have come out since then. But thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends about it. Click the like button if you like this channel. If you're new, subscribe. Please check out www.bluegrassguitaressentials.com for information on my upcoming bluegrass guitar course, which may or may not be released by now. Thanks so much for watching once again. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bid you adieu and do some more playing on this thing so that you can hear what the tone sounds like. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later.